So if you've been thinking about relocating and Cincinnati maybe is on your list, but you're just not sure what it's really like to live there, well, today we are going to talk about the weather, what the experts say, and then also what we actually know and what it really is like to live here, what to expect right after this. So I have lived in Ohio pretty much my entire life, and there are a lot of weather patterns that we see. And so I think it's just important to kind of share some of that knowledge with you in case you're thinking of moving here. All right, so let's just start with the temperature. So our averages, typically the average low is 24 and the average high is about 83. Well, that doesn't sound so bad. Now, again, that's average. So we may have some years where we will have multiple days or weeks where it is below 10 degrees. We may have an entire summer where it's 100 and humid every day. But again, on average, it's pretty pleasant. Our rainfall, I feel like it rains all the time. It really doesn't. It will rain like usually hard for a day or two. The most rainfall we get is typically in May, and then it starts to warm up, kids get out of school, and then it starts raining and cooling off again in June. That is just how we roll here in Ohio. It happens every year. So when you think they're going to get out of school, yeah, we're going to go to the pool or we're going to go do something really fun, just be prepared. It might be a few weeks before you actually get in the water. Yes, we can typically get rain any time of the year. We actually just had, a huge storm, and it rained for an entire day, solid, morning to night. And then we got sleet and then snow. So it's currently February. And yeah, you wouldn't think February we'd have rain, but storms obviously coming through. It was a little crazy, and it happens. But yes, most of our rain is normally in the spring, but could be December, could be January, could be whenever. Just expect it. Now, snow, on the other hand, is normally December through mid-March. But again, we might have a year where we start getting snow and we are hitting the slopes in November, before or right after Thanksgiving, and then it lasts. Like, we've got snow all the time, or cold enough temperatures that they can keep snow on the hills until like mid-March, late March, something like that. That's usually when the skiing season ends around here. But then we'll have another year where we'll have nothing. We have no snow. It's warm. I've had years where literally I've never worn a coat, just like a sweater. And, you jump in the car in the garage, you take off down the road, and you jump out, go to the grocery store or Target, and then you hop back in the car and get back out when you get in the garage. So you don't really need one of those, the Canadian Goose jackets. It's not that cold here. It just isn't. Snow, typically just a few months, and our average snowfall, in 1 month, about 3.2 inches. And there are some years where I don't feel like we get hardly any. But yeah, usually a couple inches, a couple of snow events where they terrify us on the TV and everyone runs to the grocery store to the point that there's nothing left in the grocery store. And then it's over and we had an inch of snow. But I feel like that happens everywhere. It's not just here. So humidity. I know a lot of people really hate humidity. It can get humid here during the summer. Usually like May to September, there's just a lot more moisture in the air. And most people, if you have a basement, you're going to be running a dehumidifier probably all year long. You may be able to turn it off during the winter, but definitely spring, summer, you're going to run that dehumidifier because it can get a little moist. But I don't feel like we have a ton of humid days. Now, again, you might have like one season where it's over 100 almost every day. And, if you're going through that and it's just humid and you're pregnant, it's not fun. I don't care who you are. But for everyone else, it's really not that bad. I would say I love it when it gets to be like in the 90s and it's really humid because then I'm in my pool. I don't ever have to get out. I'm very comfortable. But if I have to wear like dress clothes and go somewhere and look good and I'm just like melting and sweating constantly, I don't love that. So that's usually a few days out of the summer, but most of the time, again, I feel like it's fairly pleasant. So wind is like our average is maybe like 6 to 8 miles an hour. It's annoying when it's finally gorgeous outside and it's comfortable. It's like maybe in the 70s or, low 80s. And you finally get out and you're ready to go do something fun. And then here it comes. And it's just, blowing you away. Or you try to videotape something outside. That can be annoying. But again, it's usually spring and fall when there's a lot of, temperature changes anyway. So it's kind of expected. But other than that, it's very calm. Like nothing is happening out there today. Take a look. Like nothing's moving. It's just very, very calm. We don't typically have hurricanes, though we did have a rainless hurricane in 2008 when Hurricane Ike came through and knocked out power for several days for most people, up to 3 weeks for other areas of town. Damaged trees, damaged roofs, all kinds of things like that. But the thing we see more often than not is tornadoes. Now, growing up in Ohio, I have probably been closer to at least 3 tornadoes than I really would have liked. And I have never seen one in person. But what I do know is if it's green, brown, or it's raining sideways, you need to take cover. A very well-known tornado that came through and devastated Xenia, Ohio back in the 70s. And Cincinnati had a really bad tornado come through about 22 years ago that just wiped out parts of condo communities and things right along 275. Then a couple of years ago, Dayton had a horrific tornado that came through. We actually could see the lightning and things from down here and had no idea what was going on. And then just recently, like a month or two ago, Kentucky actually had a very devastating group of tornadoes that came through, and I believe about 100 people lost their lives. So it's no joke. Tornadoes are probably the scariest thing that we see, and it's why there are a lot of basements that are built with the homes here, and definitely something that I recommend, especially if this is something that terrifies you. And most of the people that come here from other areas have heard, and they have those concerns, and they definitely want at least someplace that they can go. It doesn't have to be fully finished, but hey, if the sirens are going off, I need a place to go hide. And then the other thing that you have to remember, if you're not from here, you're coming in from another area, we do observe daylight saving time. So during the fall and winter, the days are definitely shorter, and I don't like it. I don't like it getting dark at 5 o'clock, because if I'm trying to do showings, it's just really challenging. We can't really go after 4:30 for a period of time. And then like now it's February, like we can probably go until about 6:30 or so, 6 o'clock. But during the summer, then I'm out showing until like 9 o'clock at night. And I don't know, there's been some talk about making daylight saving time year round. I'd be curious to see what that would look like. Would definitely consider it. But currently, yes, daylight saving time. So it changes typically in March to the longer days. And then in November, everything gets shorter again. By the way, let me just mention, because I lived farther north, I will say anything north of I-70, so once you get up into the Dayton area and north, a lot more snow events and bigger snow events. We just had this huge storm. They told us we were going to get 6 inches. We ended up with probably 1.5 inches of ice and maybe 2 inches of snow, maybe 2 inches of snow. Up north, where our family lives, they got 10 inches of snow. I was very jealous. My husband was very jealous. We love growing up there and playing in the snow. And so we're talking about North Dayton and just a little bit farther north into Miami County. But yeah, a lot more snow up there. If you're out in the country, there's a lot of blowing and drifting. A lot harder to manage, but still, it's beautiful when there's snow. They do get it a lot more often than we do down here. So that is something to consider if you are looking at the Dayton area or just trying to figure out where you should land here in Southwest Ohio. All right. Hope that's been helpful. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.